The month of traditional E3 announcements was about to fly by with nary a peep from Nintendo, the former kings of traditional E3 announcements. But then this week, they did present their peep. It was a Nintendo Direct Mini partner showcase. So the Mini designation had nothing to do with the length. It's 26 minutes, which is the second longest Mini to ever exist. And yeah, in checking that, I did come to realize that over the last couple of years, there's been more Minis than regular Directs. So the word Mini here is not about the length of these videos or how many announcements there will be within. It's just about setting expectations for what you're about to see. One time in college, this one very cool, very attractive girl invited me to hang out at her dorm room over Instant Messenger. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll be right over. But thinking like, man, she must think I'm cool. What do I do? Anyway, I knock on the door, I get over to her place, and she's hanging out with a friend. And she's like, this is Doug. He's gay, and he's going to be hanging out with us tonight. So, I hope you weren't planning on having any sex. And I'm like, I wasn't planning on having sex. But like, good for her, I guess. Good for her to set the expectations. As I tell the story today, I'm not sure why she had to point out that Doug was gay. It doesn't seem relevant. Anyway, that's what Mini means. Nintendo Direct Mini, partner showcase. No sex tonight. If you're somehow still confused about this, let's run down the biggest announcements from the Direct and rate their mininess. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is mini. And I realize it shouldn't feel mini, it should feel at least regular. Any game with Mario in it should be at least a regular status, but I get the feeling this is going to be, I don't think it looks bad. It's one of those games that is probably just going to improve upon its predecessor in every possible technical way and then still sell worse. And I think I know what it is. It's not electric anymore. It's not exciting anymore. There was a point 6 years ago when Mario plus Rabbids 1 was released where the mashup felt unholy. It felt like a frankly bad idea. Can't wait to see how they pull this off. Today, I feel nothing about these two carousing around together. It's insane to me that Ubisoft believes that the Rabbids have enough perpetual intrigue to turn this into a franchise.
Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope takes place in a whimsical galaxy, the result of the merge of Mario and Rabbids universes.
What do you truly believe the world of Rabbids is bringing to the table? Do you think this is 50-50? Do you think the Rabbids with their plungers and shopping carts bring as much as Mario does? It's not even close to equal. What I realized today is that Mario plus Rabbids as a sequel obviously just needed another plus. Tell me any of these wouldn't be a bigger hit. Mario plus Rabbids plus Lemmings. Mario plus Rabbids plus Crazy Taxi. Mario plus Rabbids plus Cats 2019. Mario plus Rabbids plus Double Dragon. Mario plus Rabbids plus An Extremely Goofy Movie. Mario plus Rabbids plus Math Blaster. Mario plus Rabbids plus Snowboard Kids. Mario plus Rabbids plus The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. I'm frustrated by how easy this is. Easiest millions you could ever make, and you're cutting yourself short. You're thinking mini. Super Bomberman R2? This is plainly mini. Look at how lanky these Bombermans are. Sonic doesn't get away with it, right? Sonic gets long limbs and we all make fun of him and we all know he looks worse. When Bomberman does it, nobody notices. That's how obscure you are, brother. You're getting away with it just because nobody's looking. Somebody at Konami thinks this looks cool and nobody cares enough to tell them to stop. And that is the very definition of mini. Speaking of Sonic, Sonic Frontiers is not mini. Sonic Frontiers should be mega. If anything, this is one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. This is his big next game, but it is mini. It is mini. We have a problem with Sonic Frontiers. I think Sonic Frontiers, obviously, looks like shit. However, at the same time, I think this game looks like more fun than any other video game coming out this year. So the problem then is that I have a responsibility when I click upload on these videos. Our relationship is built on trust. You trust me when you click play, not to lead you astray, not to lead you down a dark path. So I think it's best if we just never talk about Sonic Frontiers. We already know this is a 6 out of 10. This is obvious goat bile. It's a surefire disappointment. It's an inevitable 20-hour free-roaming gut punch. But I'm looking at this like, ooh. I'm looking at this like, oh yeah. I'm looking at this like, yeah, baby. And I just know, here's what we have to do. Here's the delayed input policy going forward. I'm gonna play this, you don't play this. This is my mistake to make. Pac-Man World Repack. Absolutely not mini. I don't know how this got in this direct. Obviously some sort of editing mistake. Right now I'd like to take a moment to call out whoever wrote this.
Monkey Around in Return to Monkey Island.
Now I've never heard of Monkey Island before, so I looked it up. Apparently there's like 8 of these games, and none of them are really about monkeys. And in this new trailer, there's not a single monkey to be seen. So what I think happened was, whoever wrote these jokes didn't even bother to Google it like I did, and then once more wrote this.
Monkey Around in Return to Monkey Island.
Nintendo, that's not your best. Clearly mini material. Harvestella, delightfully mini. Sometimes you see a game and you're like, oh no, they spent too much money on this. There's no way this makes its money back. They went over budget on this. And then also sometimes you can clearly see they didn't give it enough money. Oh, their ambitions were too high for the time and money they were given for this. Harvestella is Baby Bear's porridge. Square Enix seemingly spent the perfect amount of budget on this farming, crafting RPG. And I hope you at home now have an understanding of what mini entails. Because there's gotta be a regular Nintendo Direct coming. It's gotta be just around the corner. They probably just, June's not cool anymore. Why would you show a game in June? It's all about July these days. Get lost June. Anyway, that's Delayed Input for this week. Thanks for watching. So I have a couple of Delayed Input updates for you. On last week's episode, I was making fun of this particular Xenoblade Chronicles 3 character rundown, while also, at one point in that episode, showing my own inconsistency and being interested in the new Star Ocean game. That looks awful. Strangely enough, Star Ocean, The Divine Force, had a new trailer this week with a strangely similar character rundown. Look at this. Raymond Lawrence, member of Lawrence Logistics from planet Vergold, captain of the Aegis. Letitia Osirius, from the planet Aster 4, crown princess of the kingdom Osirius. Albert Bergholm, obstinate knight who serves the princess. Elena, Raymond's calm and collected first officer. Nina DeForgis, Iatromancer seeking a cure to a deadly disease. Midas Felgreed, ornery hermit and brilliant semiomancer. Okay, that guy's weird. Maybe we're onto something here. And then, Duma.
Secure the perimeter. Secure the perimeter.
Her catchphrase is, secure the perimeter. And I'm like, hell yeah, we found it. That's an RPG character. And then, when we flip to in-game combat, it's quite apparent Duma is not a regular party member. So that was a great disappointment. Still looks more fun than Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Second update, you might remember there was a whole episode I did about Sonic Origins Digital Deluxe version. Camera controls over the main menu islands. That is downright hilarious. Let me be clear, this is not an outrage. I'm not mad. This is, to me, masterful humor. Look at the screenshot, the only one we have of the main menu. Let me remind you once more, this is the Premium Fun Pack. Think of all the fun we're gonna have controlling the camera around these islands. Well, here it is. Camera controls over the main menu islands. Premium fun, baby.